Recognize Mr. Bishop, the gentleman from North Carolina, and the chair of the Subcommittee on Oversight for 5 minutes of questioning.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Secretary Mayorkas, you've frequently testified about the actions and efforts of DHS over the course of time you've been Secretary. Let me just ask you about the results of your more than 3 years of tenure. Do you consider the results of your administration of the Department of Homeland Security to be a success?
I am incredibly proud of the work of the men and women of the Department of Homeland Security, Congressman. They risk their lives.
You consider it to be a success?
I am incredibly proud of everything they do.
Yep. Do you consider it to be a success?
I consider them to be a tremendous success in advancing the safety and security of the American people.
Do you consider your administration of the Department of Homeland Security to be a success?
With the resources and authorities they have, they've done an extraordinary job.
In November 2022, I asked you whether you continue to maintain that the border is secure. You said yes, and it's getting more secure every day. Do you still say so?
Congressman, with the resources and the authorities that we have been provided, it is as secure as we can make it.
Under your orders, the Department of Homeland Security paroled Venezuelan Jose Ibarra into the United States. He, of course, went on to a variety of crimes, culminating in beating a young woman to death in Georgia. The relevant statute grants you authority to parole aliens into the United States, quote, only on a case-by-case basis for urgent humanitarian reasons or significant public benefit, close quote. Which was it in Mr. Ibarra's case, humanitarian reasons or significant public benefit that you paroled him into the United States?
Congressman, we abide by the law. We apply our parole processes in obeyance of the law. The public safety of the American people is our highest priority, and I would be pleased to share case details with you on any case of concern to you subsequent to this hearing. I don't have the case details with me today.
Well, I'm not really asking for detail. I'm only asking for one simple fact, which is, was it urgent humanitarian reasons or significant public benefit that under your orders, Mr. Ibarra was paroled into the United States?
My answer remains the same, Congressman.
You mean you would have to review something, you'd have to review something before you could provide case details, or you just can't say it in this forum?
The former.
Don't know. You don't know.
As I said, I do not have the details with respect to that individual's case, and I would be pleased to provide them to you, Congressman.
Mr. Secretary, news reports, or the Heritage Foundation Oversight Project has released this document that is allegedly a flyer distributed at a non-governmental organization in Mexico called the Resource Center Matamoros, which is said to read in part, if translated, reminder to vote for President Biden when you are in the United States. We need another 4 years of his term to stay open. I note, by the way, I understand this RCM has denied that this is authentic, but of course there are competing reports about it. But let me ask you this: what actions is the Department of Homeland Security taking to ensure that, especially given the millions of illegal entries, including 2 million gotaways, that non-citizens are being prevented from registering and voting unlawfully?
Congressman, individuals who are not citizens of the United States cannot vote in federal elections.
But that's not what I asked. I asked what actions DHS is taking to ensure that that doesn't occur.
Well, two things. Number one, I believe that it is state and local election officials that monitor the eligibility of individuals. We do not oversee the election enrollment process. What we do is enforce our borders and, in fact...
So it says shorter, nothing.
In fact...
how can Congress and the American people have confidence that the outcome of close elections will not turn on the votes of non-citizens who have registered and voted unlawfully?
Congressman, election security is one of our priorities. In the distribution of federal grant funds to state and local jurisdictions, we have made election security a priority, and we have mandated a minimum...
I'll reclaim my time. Last point, I'm just curious, following up Mr. Guest, you asked for less detention beds, and you explained that you did that based on the level of detention beds that would be needed under the Senate, quote, bipartisan bill. How's that bill bipartisan other than it's supported by James Lankford? Is there another Republican in the Senate or the House that supported that bill?
Congressman, we continue to support the bipartisan legislation that a group of senators worked on for months. And
My time's expired, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Gentleman's time has expired.